This is our second and final video around the data visualizations that were created as a part of the sentiment analysis and topic modeling work. This data visualization is an overall scorecard or review of the survey responses for each one of the different workshops or webinars. The consideration here was we were already creating a database that had the open-ended responses, so we figured might as well just take in all the quantitative responses from the other questions and allow for a combination of the quantitative results as well as the open-ended survey results all in one view. So in this particular data visualization, it's highlighted really at just one workshop or webinar at a time. So you can see when I select on this drop-down box, this is a listing of all the different webinars and workshops that are in the database. And if I select on one, it will filter to that particular session, and it highlights some of the metadata around that. Who the presenters were, what date it was presented on, how many survey respondents were there, and also it provides a link if you select on here to the recording of the webinar that came from the database. So we have that kind of collection. And then on the second table on the right hand side, these are actually all of the responses to the different questions that were asked here. So you can see, please indicate the extent to which you agree or disagree. The webinar held my interest. We can see 20 people agree, 9 people strongly agree. You can see the distribution of all of the quantitative questions that were asked. And table 3 is a summary of the open-ended responses. So we can see how many phrases were associated to presentation, design characteristics, the presenter, and the average sentiment. And you can see in this case, again, from the previous video, we talked about average sentiment being, if it's around 1, it's neutral. Below 1 starts to become more likely negative, and then as you go above 1, more positive. So in this particular view, we can see that perceived utility of learning was the lower sentiment average value, and interactivity was higher. So if I click on interaction and interactivity, again, this is filterable, so I'm just seeing those responses here. They're talking about the discussion around different foci, excellent job monitoring chat room, so they talk about the chat room, participant questions. Really, discussions were really good. So a lot of elements around the discussion. We have one negative over here. But the model present apply to all of the so this is one chat comment. So this was just an issue they had with one chat comment that was in here. But this is all interactive as I select on it. I can select on individual responses to see those values, and I can click on any particular so for example, if I want to see presentation design characteristics, I can click on here, and it talks about how the moderators and the presentation delivery was prepared and delivered. So this talks about the presentation design as well as the presenter, and both of them were highly positive. You can see those responses down there in the breakout table, 1.95 sentiment, so highly positive response on that. This also has a keyword search similar to the other data visualization. So if I type in, for example, presenter, when I enter that, it's going to filter just those responses that are talking about the presenter. And I can mouse over and see what they're talking about. So here, experienced presenters, diverse and expertise of presenters. So really good feedback that you can see on that response, those responses around this particular survey, particular session. So this is more of a individual workshop or webinar review. It allows you to select a particular session, view not only the responses to the open-ended questions that we spent most of our time doing the analysis on, but also the regular quantitative responses. So you can see both in one view. And this is more of a, after action review on a session where you can go in, find out a little bit more about how these comments are correlated or related to some of the other responses, and find some insights on how to improve or continue the excellent work that's being done in any of these workshops or webinars.